Yeah. What up? Let me make sure my sound's on. 1 second. Trying to check on my phone, my peoples. Give me 1 minute. I hope y'all are doing all right. Trying to check on my phone, my peoples. There we go. So, what's good? Thank you for stepping into the file play land with me. As always, I'm your file player, my peoples. I'm currently on vacation right now, where I go every year. Last year I went a few times, but this year it's my first time coming up to Maine for this summer. Um, but I haven't been on not just because of that. Like I haven't been on like because mad busy. Can't be like running up and like to the internet. Like sometimes like coming onto YouTube. Like getting ready for this shit, being on it. You're talking 2 or 3 hours. And sometimes you don't have it. A lot of times I would come on here like because I couldn't sleep and shit. I was like, oh, fuck it. Let me come on to jump onto YouTube and talk to the peeps. But at this stage, like I'm moving around a little slower than I used to in the past. I've said it here a couple times, like the fact that I had my accident. But I don't be jumping on here like because doing the shit that I gotta do normally on the everyday takes a little bit longer and just been busier and shit. Fucking trying to make a buck, you know, Juno. But outside of that though, oh, I'm also taking care of 5 little kittens too. New joints. Um, my fucking this cat that I feed in my backyard, she gave birth one time, like, and I kept one of the kittens. But then this bitch gave birth again. She had 5 kittens. She actually had 8 kittens, but 5 of them lived. But I'm taking care of them up until I get back from my vacation, and then I'm gonna place them in homes. Fucking I already got them new houses. So I'm enjoying my little kittens on vacation too. It's a fantastic time. Glad to get out of fucking humid ass Jersey, fucking New York area, dirty ass New York area, um, and come out to the fucking cold, crisp nights. I hate saying the word crisp, but sorry, I had to spit something out my mouth. The cold, crisp nights of fucking Maine. Love it. I love it. But glad to come back here. Um, I feel bad too that I haven't been coming on because fucking, it's like ah, one of the craziest times in the world ever. You smell me? Like, damn, I'm fucking pale, bro. Since this accident too, I've been getting out like that, bro. Look how fucking translucent I look. Yeah, look like uncooked meat. But and I've been getting sun out here too. Is really not helping. I haven't been getting out like that, bro. My peeps. But another thing too is that one of the reasons I wasn't coming on was this fucking boxing is dead, man. Like what the fuck I'm gonna come on here and like debate like the fucking Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford every day. Get out of here, bro. Who got time for that? We're no closer to like to having a fight like today than like when Errol beat Yordenis Ugas. Like, and people are still like taking on one side or the other. Like I have my side, like as far as not side, but like who I perceive to be the one that's been evading the fight in Errol Spence. I've held that for a couple of years now. I mean, it's not because I'm a fucking Bud fanboy. I mean, you know, who got time for being a fanboy? Who got time for like jumping onto the internet, like just to defend like a guy like that don't know you? But and I'm not dissing nobody. I'm trying to be more positive. But another reason is that a lot of times, like on this channel, I feel like kind of like relegated to talking boxing, and I love boxing. I love the sport. Um, I steal almost all the fights. Like when I'm home, you know, if I don't have shit to do, I'll watch the fights on the stream. But it's nothing, you know, nothing of any luster is happening. Plus, so like me, YouTube content creator that largely does like boxing, like, you know, sometimes like if like somebody comes on, like, you know, I don't want to be rude and be like start to pivot to another conversation like outside of boxing, you know. And the thing is, it's not like that I like don't like talking boxing. It's just that there's so many other things happening in the world like that I would love to talk about that I feel like I don't talk about at times, like, you know, because fucking everything's crazy now, bro. Like, you know it, I know it. Um, but I'd rather be talking about the craziness, like, you know, like fucking rather than talking about no fucking boxing, bro. Fuck Errol Spence and Bud Crawford if that's how you feel, like fucking, you know. But I haven't done a video for like probably like 3 months or some shit. Like, so what am I gonna be like debating like fucking an Errol Spence Bud Crawford debate for 3 months? Meanwhile, like fucking the world's on fire. Fuck no. Having said that though, um, one of the things that I was covering, like as far as like the things that I want to cover in the future, like world stuff, two things. The truckers protest in Canada that was happening that was not covered in the media. I hate the media. That's one thing I want to talk about on this channel a lot. Um, the Canadian trucker strike, which happened like probably like February, maybe January, um, where truckers in Canada like went on strike like outside of the like their parliament, like almost like their Congress, and it lasted for a week. You know, it was on YouTube constantly. Like people were live streaming it, and fucking it wasn't shown on the media at all. Like very little, very very little. Um, that was happening, and like, you know, most people didn't know it was happening, but like, you know, the whole Canada knew because it was happening there. But that's what I don't like about like fucking the media. They get you hyped about one thing or the other. Like meanwhile, they don't tell you what's happening, like the real. And you got a similar situation happening right now, like that's not being covered with truckers or farmers in fucking Holland. I'll get to that in a minute. But one of the last videos I touched on in my little hiatus was about the Canadian trucker thing. And then after that, I also gave my one opinion as far as like the Ukraine situation. And this was like as the Ukraine war was happening. Well, actually, back to the Canadian truckers thing. If you guys don't know what it is, they had shut down the city of Ontario, like where like the capital is, whatever. And with trucks, like they just lined it up with trucks, and a bunch of people came out and like partied like right outside of there for days and days and days, day and night, day and night. Like, you know, cops would like try to like get them, maneuver them out, and like they really couldn't because it was like mad people there every night, 24/7. So that had happened. I covered that, like, you know, but I remember after that, I covered the Ukrainian war. Um, and if you look at the title of my video outright, it says the Ukrainian war like seemed like it was capped. I hate saying that word, but that was my opinion. You know, a lot of people were coming on here, and this is as it happened. Like, you know, a lot of people were coming on to YouTube, like people I like too. They go Russia, like, you know, like how they were making a team on the news, like they were just murking people left and right, and that wasn't happening. I mean, we're still like Russia invading Ukraine, like it's still happening right now, but you don't see like Ukraine on fucking fire, and it doesn't seem like, well, not that it doesn't seem like Ukraine isn't winning that war. Like Russia's like crushing it, like they keep taking like more and more land, whatnot. But they keep making it seem like, you know, we have to be like giving up money, like, you know, you, me, for a whack ass war. But I was saying like back then, my contention was that because this is like as the war was happening. Let me see. Hey man, hope you're doing well. Hey Lost One, I hope you're doing well. Glad to have you come through. Let me highlight your comment. Bling. But thank you for coming through, Lost One. I hope you're doing well. Please don't tell me you support the Russians. No, not at all. No, no, no. I don't support. I don't take sides in these things like that. I just say that the media coverage of it was like wrong, like because they kept making it seem like like the Russians were getting their ass kicked. Like when I made my video about the subject, my one video, was like as the war was happening, and my opinion was that the media was like making it seem like the Russians were going in there like tearing shit apart. But my stance now, like in whatever date we're at right now, is that like one, Ukraine isn't winning, but two, like Russia doesn't seem like they're like bombarding the shit out of the place, because like in Kiev, like the capital of Kiev, people were going out to the beach like a couple weeks ago. And one thing too, like when the war was happening, when it first happened, they had like a live stream of the capital of Ukraine, Kiev. Like they had like this gold building, like a little town square, like with a whatever those fucking things are called, those roundabouts, like a big roundabout, like a nice part of like a down, like a capital. But my anticipation was, especially based on like how the media was saying, not that I trusted the media one iota like going into it, but they were making it seem as if like that shit, the capital area, which I'm describing, was gonna be like a flame, like oh shit, like like you're gonna see fucking Russians out there, like one guy with a machete fucking cutting dudes, like like a ninja or some shit, like you were gonna. And with the age of like video that we have now, everybody has cell phones, everybody has cameras, like there's tons of access to video. If they were like really, really like worthy stuff, like it would be happening every day too, like that kind of video, like shit bombarded, like fucking as in other wars, like in recent history. You know what I'm saying? But you didn't get any of that, and for a certain, like Ukraine like isn't winning the war. Like I just think it's like a fucking waste of time, like to be for like other countries to have to send money in that direction, like for something that doesn't seem like it's gonna go well. And like I mean, like if it's like if we're like if the other countries are vested into it like that, like as far as having Ukraine win, it would probably take a commitment of other like countries putting boots on the ground, like in Ukrainians, fucking that's like a 10 times more serious conversation. Let me take a sip of my beer. Tonight I'm drinking a brew called Cape May, 10 limes. But it tastes, I've had it before. It's 4.5% alcohol. But they make other ones that I have in the fridge that are 8% alcohol, but that 8% actually feels like taking 3 shots. Cheers. Actually, to my friend Jamie, who's getting in surgery right now. Oh, should have been coming out of surgery. But anyhow, having said that though, a lot of times, like one thing I do want to do as far as my content is like not to talk about like fucking boxing all the time, because fucking boxing is whack. I don't want to harp on the fact that boxing is whack, which I was doing a lot on this channel. I want to talk about other shit because like the world is nuts. So it's cool like to like be able to discuss the nuttiness of the world rather than like fucking boxing. I don't want to take no sides on boxers. Like they all go to hell, like fucking in my eyes. I mean, like, and I'm not hating on their money. I think boxers are underpaid. But having said that, like the world is too nuts to talk about no fucking boxing on my end. I mean, like, to all the other content creators, more power to you. Much love. Wish you all the success in the world. Like, and I'm not saying that like facetiously. Excuse me. But I just want to talk about the world in which we live in currently. Also wanted to make an announcement too. No, of course, propaganda constantly, my friend. Even commercials. God damn it. Let me see. I support Ukrainians, but the way we are covering it is bad. Yeah. it's not a waste of time. What Russia's doing is messed up, but the fact that we are covering them like we are actually doing something is messed up. It's like we're trying to convince ourselves. Yeah, I mean, and that's dangerous too because like um, if like say like they actually like did start going in there and like tearing shit up, like then these like guys that like kind of like dick wave in the media and like politicians and whatnot, their next step is to be like, all right, like we're gonna send troops there. I'm not that fuck. And right now, like I mean, like I'm not sure if you guys are around young people nowadays, but a lot of the young people nowadays are pretty fucking soft. You know, to send them to war like with Russians, like I mean, like I don't know if Russian dudes are like have that same problem going on in their country, but it doesn't seem that way. It seems like they're pretty tough dudes, and I'm not like hyping them up like fucking. If they come upon our shores, it's like they're not gonna say, "Oh, well, are you a foul player? That guy with 166 subs? Did you say a good comment about us?" And take, like you're okay. He doesn't nah. They come to these shores, fucking we're gonna have a problem, Rooskies. Like fucking I'm being hyperbolic, but we would have a problem. Like you're not touching this land. Um, but you know, I just don't want it to end into a big war. I never like war, bro. I thought from Jump Street that like those two countries should have talked it out and come to some agreement. But it's a really fucked up situation. It's been fucked up in Ukraine for since 2014 and maybe even before that. It was voted as one of the top 10 most corrupt countries before this whole thing happened. Like, and to be sending money over there, I mean, to a really corrupt country, and like I think they had a picture of like one of their prime ministers like on a yacht with a hooker, and like they actually, it was proven that it was a hooker. Like she had like a fucking like a G string, like fucking, she was hot, she was smoking, but and you could clearly tell it was him. Like how they use it was a pretty close picture too. It was like, and they use that facial recognition shit. Ill ass fucking big yacht, um, with the fucking high price hooker. This wasn't no fucking $300 hooker high price. This looks like some G money shit. But fuck that, bro. And the thing is too, I've been saying that stuff. I would do a lot of videos about like how food like about stuff that I would see in the grocery store. I mean, and that was months ago, and it seemed like I'm fucking here like an old man like talking about kittens and groceries and shit like that. But shit ain't so funny now. I mean, like what I was saying about groceries back then, as far as the prices going up and shit. Now you're seeing it. Like, I mean, like, and it's not like I want to be right. Like, score. Like, no, this shit sucks. You know, it's a really, really crazy time. I mean, like, but another thing that's happening too is before I get to that, Ukraine was corrupt because of Russia. They literally had a puppet government. That's why Kit was like set on fire in 2014. They all went mad when they found out. Yeah, I mean, but if you think about it, like 2014 had a regime change entirely that was not like backed by Russia. And that regime, like since 2014 till now, was voted of the top 10 most corrupt. In that regime, like the people that are in charge of Ukraine now, like they're like anti like Russian, like they can't. That's how we ended up in this war. But those dudes, like the dude that's on the yacht now, he's part of that like current regime. And and that yacht wasn't in Ukraine. That shit was like in probably like south of France or some shit. I don't know. I know it was a different country. I just can't recall which though. But they're, it's extreme. I just don't, want to send our money over there. Like, I don't want gas to be more expensive, so called supposedly, because of that shit. Fuck that. They could both go to hell. Like fucking in my eyes, fuck them both. But if it saves me $20 of gas like per week, they could rot for all I give a shit. Like fucking and that's not me being mean, but I'm paying a lot more than 20 per week, and the grocery shit like fucking sucks. it's really gonna start going up too, like as far as the prices of groceries and all that stuff and gas. And they're gonna use that like as an excuse in a sense. But I don't know. I mean, like, I hope everybody's like, kind of like bracing themselves in a sense, like because I think that as far as economic downturn, like we're headed right into it. Like and you guys are seeing it. US ain't getting their gas from Russia. No, they're not. But they use it as an excuse at like the war over there as to why the price of gas has gone up. The price of gas was going up even before the war. But now that like everything is because of Russia. Like fucking monkeypox, they're probably gonna blame it on Russia. Like fucking as far as like the media here, like in within America. But moving on though, as far as like another situation that's not covered by the media here, and I hope my fucking stream ain't messing up. Is there's a Dutch farmer protest. This beer is fucking delicious, man. If you guys could, I mean, like, I'm sorry I lost one, but you may not be able to get this out across the pond. But Cape May Tan Lines, they actually have a website. I'm not like advertising them, like fucking. It's probably like some fucking shit that's probably ultimately owned or gonna be owned by like a big company like Budweiser, but they are really good beers. A little pricey, but in Holland right now, they're having a farmer strike. And I'm saying this story now because I want to go backwards as far as other stories that have happened since I bounced. But there's a farmer strike in Holland, and it's due to a law that's been that they want to implement, I think, or that they have implemented, in regards to cutting down the nitrogen, and they're doing that by cutting farmers off from farming, basically. Like they're saying that their cows like produce like nitrogen like into the ecosystem, and basically they, I think it was 30% of farms they like want to wipe out altogether, like where they just want it to be wildlife, and these are a lot of them are private farms. So what a lot of the farmers are doing is that they're not delivering their food to go to grocery stores. So grocery stores out there, a lot, some of them that I've seen on video, um, are empty. Another thing they're doing is that they're blocking the roads. They've even blocked an airport that I've seen. I don't know if they're doing all the airports, but it's like fucking crazy out there right now. And it's leading to fights. I saw the fights, the cops like sneaking into a protest, like in plain clothes, and come out swinging with nightsticks. Like they were fought back, like people were spitting on them afterwards, like, but they were like in plain clothes and they just came out of the van like just swinging on dudes. They even showed two instances in which cops shot at fucking some of those tractors that the farmers have brought out. Like, and not like that the farmers are trying to run like these motherfuckers over like the cops. It was the cops just fucking two different instances in which I saw like where cops were bucking at like those farmers. But it's crazy shit. Very crazy shit that's happening now. But it's similar in the sense that I wanted to bring it up now because I want to go backwards as far as Roe v. Wade and the Second Amendment thing that happened here domestically. But it's similar in the sense that like the Canadian trucker strike wasn't covered in the media, and neither is this Dutch farmer strike. And it's just something to keep your eye on. I mean, like, and the thing is too, like a lot of times, like I want to talk like adult conversations. Like I don't want people to get butthurt. Or actually, I don't give a fuck if you get butthurt. Honestly, it's more in a sense that like, try to listen with an open mind. Not you, Lost One. Like in general, like if you listen to this content whenever, like people are very easy to dismiss you, and if you go in one direction, they'll dismiss you. Oh, well, that's one of those fucking whatever. Well, that's one of these like, oh, he's one of those Christian dudes. Like, I'm not Christian like that. Or I'm not Christian. But and that's corny. Like, I mean, you should be able to chop it, and that's the bad thing about the internet. Like, fucking the internet's whack. And like, that's why it's good to like call people and fucking talk in person a lot of times because a lot of things get lost in translation, like in the internet, like fucking and it's just very impersonal. This shit is whack. But ultimately, I just want to talk about like more real shit, and it doesn't come from no fucking um political inclination or fucking I don't know, some undercurrent shit that fucking I'm a very surface level person, like fucking and maybe like a lot of times like that gets me into hairy situations, but if I gotta say something, I don't give a fuck. Like and that's not like me being like an internet person. I'm like that regular, like fucking and it's not like I look for problems like fucking but or any of that stuff. I used to, but nowadays, like I'm still like in many ways the same way as far as like how I speak, like, and I'll say whatever the fuck I want. I mean, like, and that's not like, but I think it's better to be that way, people like, and that gets lost on the internet too. Like, the internet's a fucking clown show. YouTube is a clown show. Like, a lot of these dudes front on YouTube, like, and it's hard to carry on like conversations, when somebody's fronting, because then I'll be inclined to front. Like, if we're going back and forth, that's, so it's like better to like, fucking be very frank with people, cut through the bullshit. Um, that way, we get more done as far as like our discourse. Let me get my fucking charger. Hold on. Actually, fuck the charger. I'll get that shit when the computer's about to die. I said I was gonna stay on until the computer died. Let me see. What do you think? My bad. Oh, the way they're planning on wiping out the farms, I think they're just outlawing farming on the farms. Like, they want it to be wildlife, like wilderness, rather than like they're just gonna supposedly like take out 30% of the farms that are actively running in Holland now and convert them into like wilderness. But the way they could do it, um, I don't know if it's the same here, but like in America, we have something called eminent domain. So if they needed to build like a highway or some shit, and you are on land that they needed like to build that highway, like they could buy you out legally. Like, they give you market value and you gotta like take off. Um, I don't know if that's the same in Holland, but I would figure like something like that. Like, let me see. How are they planning to wipe out these farms? What do you think about the pro-life thing and the new gun laws? I'll get to that in a minute. I have many opinions on that. I disagree with you, like all the current fighters, and we still talk. It's just like you because you're reasonable. Yeah, thank you, man. Like, and that's all I ask, bro. Like, fucking, like we don't know these people. Fuck them. If they met us on the street, bro, they'd probably like, fuck, like they probably have their bodyguards like beat us up, kick us in the face when we're down. Still waiting on these ghost stories. Oh man, I was actually thinking about that last one. I actually wanted to go on site of one of the spots because it takes place on roofs, like my roof that I saw from the building in which I live. But I have to like it would be cool like to get a drone and like show other roofs that have to do with the story. One of the stories that I wanted to tell. It's not to do with, it doesn't have to do with ghosts, but it's creepier than a ghost story. But oh, I have lost one, bro. Nah, I'm not even gonna. You're gonna think I'm front. I like. Damn. I want to start bringing like people that I do know like in regular life. So you don't like. I don't want people to think I'm bullshitting, in a sense. Like that's what I want to do. Like, as far as like my channel too. Like fucking like because a lot like people were privy to it, but I actually lost one. Some crazy shit happened. Last weekend, that weekend before last, fucking in Brooklyn too. It was the first time I went to Brooklyn and the like in a while, but I went for my friend's daughter's party. I'm gonna say I gotta reserve a video for that too. But one thing I will tell you right now, off the rip that New York, I've been saying that, like, is fucking a dump, fucking dump. But I went there. I probably haven't been there like 3 months, to say, and I went the other day for that party, and it was weirdness as soon as I fucking parked the car. But I bumped it, like I met with people that I haven't seen in years. Some of them like 15 years, maybe 10 years. But it was a crazy ass night. I had a good time like bumping into the people, but some crazy shit happened to me while I was hanging out with these people. So that was pretty nutty. But I want to cover that in a later time because it's kind of like recent too. And it's kind of like heebie-jeebie-ish still because I haven't had no shit like that happen to me in a minute. And it happened the other day. Fucking but like, you know, I don't want to cover it because I don't want to give it like too much energy, like fucking in the event that like, you know, something like that would linger or some shit. I believe in that stuff, you know. And I want to cover it more here. You said you wanted to get your brother on. Yeah. Well, no, I don't want to get him on. I want him to actually do my brother, the one that I want to come through, not the one that's. I had my brother on one time, like years ago. It was like kind of like when I first bought my house, but it's like a black dude. But I want to do a video like as far as like not me filming it. Like I want, well, actually part of it filming it, but I want my brother to film like from a POV of the shit he goes through. Because like the one that's on drugs, my brother that has an addiction, unfortunately. But you know, not because I don't want to like, you know, throw him out there like that, like fucking and if I did film him like myself in other portions of like the same thing, like, you know, to do it like respectfully because I love my brother. But yeah, that's some shit I want to do in the future. But in the immediate future though, one thing I did want to say is that I'm gonna start bringing up my other friend that's a guest. But I met this dude through YouTube, actually through Lowe's Dawkins a couple years ago, and I talk to him every couple of weeks, maybe like fucking and from the time I first talked to him, I mean, we like just hit it off, like and I want to start. We always talk, and I want to start doing content with him too, because there's a lot of shit that me and him chop it up. Like, oh, and one thing too, like before I get to the Roe v. Wade, funny story, and that's why I want to like kind of like collab with my friend too, like fucking that way it's like a conversation between two people, like fucking but me and him like agree on many things, and I want to do like more content with him regularly. I don't want to announce it yet, you know, like fucking but I think it's gonna be cool. Let me see. Don't throw him out like that. I just thought you meant that he knew Mad Ghost. Yeah, no, yeah, no. The thing that I was saying too, I've been wanting to do that Lost One. The thing I was telling you as far as his life, because there's no shame in the game. Like, I mean, like, there's not that there's no shame in the game, but I think that's real shit, bro. I'd rather watch that in a sense than like some fucking asshole showing me like his car collection or fucking some dude talking about rap or some rapper fucking fake flossing, like fucking that shit is corny. Like I not that, you know, fucking you're advocating for that kind of stuff, but I think it would be cool to give like a real raw perspective of that, like, you know, because my brother's a real ass dude too, very real ass dude, you know, and where I live is a very real ass place. Where I'm from, I don't live in no fucking Sunset Park no more. But I like to give stories of like my old neighborhood, like fucking because to me, like my old neighborhood, I love it, and it's a barometer of what's happening like in New York and across the country. Like, you know, my neighborhood, you know, they're still like, you know, wear masks all the time. It's like packed with people. Like, fuck, everybody's broke. It's getting like way worse, like crime wise and all that shit. So to me, it's like a really good barometer of the condition of the country. Like, but you see it around the world as far as, at the very least, like, you know, the chaos. Like, I see chaos in Sunset all the time. But I'd like to get it from his perspective, you know, in a sense. But going back to Roe v. Wade and the funny story that I had too. Another funny story. I'll say it right now. Give me 1 second. I gotta get my charger. Bitch. Tomorrow, I'm gonna try to come through to it. I'll do a little daytime joint to show you guys the fucking the vacation spot in Maine where I'm at. But I recently, like when the Roe v. Wade happened, I went onto a channel, a boxing channel, largely more of a boxing channel, but they discuss other things. And like I gave my perspective. Having said that though, I mean the conversation was getting nowhere because people were getting stuck on like fucking words that I was saying to describe things like fucking like more so political terminology. And I think people get stuck on that stuff like fucking you know, like it would be like saying, for instance, and this is not like I don't even want to give my stance away yet, but like if I were to say that I'm like my body, my choice, you know, some asshole that may hear that or that I'm for my body, my choice. Some asshole that may hear that may say, oh well, you know, he's one of those dudes. That's one of those dudes. That fuck, you know. So and we get too caught up in like shit like that easily, like nowadays. It's one of those pro life dude, or it's one of those, you know, like like fucking stop being bitches, bro. Like fucking just talk and see what's up. Like see what they say and then fucking you tell them what you say. Like don't like let them or somebody tell you what they feel and then fucking you don't say shit and then you tell somebody else like this opinion that you have that you could have told the motherfucker that offended you in the first place, you know? Not you. But I was on a channel talking about the Roe v. Wade thing. And as soon as I gave my opinion, they a bunch of people jumped on like fucking like it was just stupid shit. Like honestly, like the conversation kept going like in left to right and like a bunch, and it was like me against like a whole panel seemingly. Everybody in the chats, it was like 40 people in the chat, like fucking one fucking asshole who probably has a ghost account. I think his name was like Frederick Hawthorne, some shit like, but it's not like barbershop conversations. Frederick Hawthorne. It's like I think it was like Frederick Hawthorne Mayweather, some shit like that. I remember the name because I'm like I like My Revenge. But like writing sly shit in the comments the whole time, like why don't you fuck, you know, like and then I'm like back contending against like a like the panel, like, and it's like all a bunch of like trying to lead the conversation this way, that way, like, you know, a bunch of aha moments, not letting you like break down like one thing like at a time like that you're trying to discuss. And it be that way, like, you know, and I don't want like I want like my own like shit like to be on my own platform and on my friends' platforms and be able to chop it about whatever. And I like to give more of like the perspective of you know, fucking I don't know, like I'm fucking came up broke and you know, like ultimately honestly the perspective from my end, like I give it in a sense of like love or advice. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm it's not coming from no hater shit. Like and that's what I want to do like moving forward. And I'm like actually excited about it too. Like fucking I thought like in a sense like um I was always like kind of like had a lot of trepidation like to talk about the things of the world that I want to talk about. And then on top of that too, it's like, you know, I come from a perspective that a lot of channels that I do listen to that like discuss boxing, like when they get into like political discourse, it's like fucking heavily left leaning shit or like fucking crybaby stuff. And bro, right now, the world does not give a fuck about your tears, like fucking and we're gonna get more of a sense of that like moving forward, like when the financial fucking smackdown does happen. And but going back to Roe versus Wade, like that was crazy shit. Um the way the media drawed that up to, like, I think was a bunch of bullshit here in America. Like like the law that they put into place is that they're kicking it back to the states. Um, in doing that, they fucking allow the states to decide whether they're gonna fund it or what their stipulations are in regards to all those issues. Um, I thought it was a good thing in a sense. I thought it wasn't like a federal decision to make in the first place in 71, I think, or 73. I think it was 71 when they first started discussing it. I think they passed it into law in 73, if memory serves me. But I thought it was a good thing. Like, I think the people that are really gun ho about that stuff, like especially liberal white females, are fucking nuts. Like, they're the nuttiest people going on. And honestly, like, I personally don't see them having babies. Like, a lot of these chicks, like, that are fucking whales with like the side of their head shaved with fucking blue hair, like, they may talk about like fucking advocating for like anybody to be able to fuck anybody, and all types of other shit, but they're not fucking because they're nasty looking, bro. Come on. I don't care how like much you try to like how they're doing nowadays, where they throw like a fat bitch in all these like health commercials. Fat bitches are always gonna be fat bitches. You ain't gonna make it seem like fucking fat bitches are now like fucking sexy or like, no. But like, I mean, there are some fat women that are cute, whatever, like fucking, but those like fucking liberal types, like with the shaved heads and like all types of piercing, paler than me, like fucking, bro, them fucking bitches are terrible, and they're always angry and all that stuff, and they're kind of like the forerunner of like the other side of that issue, like the sense of like, being butthurt about like the law that was just passed, I guess. I don't know where that law stands. I don't want to take a stance on that. But in addition to the fact that they're not fucking, they're definitely not producing no kids. Like, and I'm telling you that I've been to, unfortunately, like places that do that. And it's all like black chicks and Spanish chicks. And I'm a Latin dude. I feel a way about that. Period. I mean, in here in my neighborhood in Sunset Park, they have a clinic that does that on 43rd Street and 4th Avenue. I mean, 3rd Avenue. Um, I don't look at that place and like say, "Oh wow, thank God." It's the convenience of having like one of these spots in Sunset Park. Nah, I feel terrible that's there. It's not a place of joy. It's not like something that's willy nilly like fucking. Oh well, I'm gonna get this rectified and then go out and fuck next weekend. Like, that's my stance on it. You know, um, I know a lot of our dudes at times ain't shit. Like fucking at times I wasn't shit. Like fucking, to be candid, I gotta get the fucking charger. But still, I think that that like comes from like a in my from my perspective, the people that are at the forefront of like pushing that are fucking um at the forefront of pushing a lot of bullshit that I don't like in recent history, i.e., the last 2 years. Um, and it's not that I'm like siding with or take my stance just based on that issue alone, but I mean, like, I do find it like hypocritical that bodily autonomy is now like um at the forefront. Damn, my computer's about to die, bro, and this fucking charger's not working. Hold on, my peoples. Bitch. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. But yeah, that's why I feel like, and I mean, like, a lot of times, like, when discussing that issue, people like go to like the worst case scenarios. Like, what about the people that are pregnant via incest or rape, I think that's terrible. I mean, if there's a situation like that, I don't think that you should be limited as to like your access to. If you're set on making that decision, um, it is what it is. But I think the culture that we have like going on right now of like fuck who you want to fuck and um, you know, we're just heading in the wrong direction in my eyes, and that's not me being a prude, bro. I was a fucking asshole, like fucking in my past. Like I've always treated women respectfully, like fucking but the as far as being promiscuous and I'll tell you right now, like complete waste of time in my eyes. And I'm not saying that being a herb and whatnot, but like right now, like how people are right now, like it's like fucking I think they're like 1,000 times more like fucking promiscuous than like anything I've ever encountered. Like fucking I heard in a survey that there's one group of people that I don't want to mention because I don't want to get this channel banged, but they recently celebrated um a month in their honor this past month, if you get my drift. But I read a survey or heard a stat. Actually, I'm not gonna say I don't remember, but I heard or read that um the dudes within that community sleep with more than 80 partners on average. 80 fucking partners, bro. 80. Like literally like how stupid people are nowadays, like fucking even if I was single and I was a fucking hornball, like to be out there like slaying more than 3 people like in a month, that's like fucking terrible. But fucking 80, dude, dude, that's fucking that's brutal. And that's the average, bro. Imagine the ones that are like the fucking like there's literally dudes like boning every day, like fucking that's terrible. That's fucking terrible. And that's the culture we're living in now. Like I mean, like where people don't speak bad about that kind of stuff enough, in my eyes. Like fucking and it's not like slut shaming like or anything like that. It's fucking that's real shit. Like if I had a friend, one of my boys that fucking was going out and like fucking twice a week. There's another man. I would think like, bro, you got serious problems. And I've had friends that like recent divorcees, like fucking that are my age, that look, still look the part, like fucking that are bagging like young chicks online. Not young chicks, but like girls, ladies that are in their 20s on these dating sites, like fucking every week if they wanted to. And even they like after a while they take a pause. They're like, yo, it's fucking is whack. And that like requires no money. That's not meeting a bitch at a restaurant. That's a bitch going to your house or you going to her house. Like fucking or in your car. It's a serious world out there, you know. But as far as that goes, in my later years now, my stance is that in extreme cases like the incest or rape and stuff like that, I would never stop somebody in one of these cases. But how often does that happen though too? Like how often does somebody get fucking pregnant through incest? And if that's the case, like why don't we talk, like why not make an issue of people that or penalizing people that fucking practice incest? Especially like if it's incest through rape, like fucking people like that shouldn't be out in the open amongst society. I mean, like fucking how many people but they never have those kind of conversations. That's like never at the forefront. Like it's always these other issues that I just find very weird, like as far as the real hyper charged up about getting pissed off with the outcome of the Roe v. Wade thing. in the sense that here in America, they could drive to another state if they don't offer it in your state. I mean, like to go from here to California, I mean, like from New York to California, that's from coast to coast. And mind you, every coastal city in America um, offers it. But from here to California, I mean, worst case scenario, $250. But to fly from here to Florida or like $80, like these domestic flights are like 50 or $60. You know, if you ever run into a case like that, I'll finance the shit. Like, actually, no, fuck that. Go finance it yourself. Like, cause a lot of these bitches like fucking get their nails done for $60. Like, I mean, kidding me? Like, take your ass on a fucking flight or like drive there. Like, fucking, it's probably the state right next to you. It's 2 hours driving or an hour. Like, fucking, I live 30 minutes from New York and I'm in New Jersey. I don't even live 30. I live like 15 minutes from New York and I'm in New Jersey. Like, drive your ass somewhere and fucking do what you got to do. I don't want to hear about your shit. Go fuck yourself. And honestly, like personally, I mean, this is my personal experience. I don't want to be a pig, but I haven't like fucking slayed somebody like without gymming up. So I was like 16, 15. Like never. Zero. You got to be like fucking with me to get that treatment. And even then, like fucking but you're talking about somebody that fucking had to once turn down like fucking abroad because I had no money for a Jimmy. But if I could abstain in my 16-year-old fucking roof of Sunset Park, like fucking turning down like some broad, um you could abstain from fucking having somebody throwing some milk duds in your fucking tummy. Sorry, like fucking do what you got to do. Like, I don't want to be a dick about it either, but anybody would front you fucking $60 to get to you where you got to get to. I hate this term too, but get that taken care of, quote unquote. That was my stance on it. As far as the gun thing, like the 2A thing that happened, I was more fired up about that. I think New York being the way it is and America being the way it is, like I think people should have more access to weaponry. In the event that there's an invasion too, like fucking you rather be strapped up. And another thing that I want to talk about on this channel is the fuck you can't rely on cops. Like, I mean, I've been old school in my views, and some may consider that conservative, but I've never been one of these people that's fucking no, you gotta back the blue. No, fuck that. Cops get paid for what they fucking do, and cops, in my experience, are fucking abject assholes. Period. Fuck them. Like, I don't wish them like harm. Like, as far as um uh people doing harm to them and shit like that. But for me to be giving them sympathy, like fucking you get paid to do that shit. Like fucking go cry in your fucking house. Like fucking you ain't crying for me like when you fucking bust my chops. Like, as far as like cops go. But like to depend on them, like to go fucking come save you, like fucking in the event of like an invasion and whatnot. Nuh-uh. Fuck that. In New York right now, I mean, my brother got shot at a few months ago. Shit is getting really spicy out there. Like, I mean, like, and if you had to live there, like fucking, I think a lot of these, and it's a lot of these young cats. I think if a lot of people that were like my age or around my age that are more established had access to weaponry like that, they wouldn't be getting mugged, or they wouldn't be getting shot at or bucked at like they are in New York. I mean, it's fucking reckless out there. That's why I didn't want to go, and I ended up going that day. Let me see, more access with all the shootings going on. Yeah, that's I think so, in the sense as far as um being able to quell like a mass shooting, in a sense. It's better to have like, and again too, it's more about defending yourself. A lot of times you can't defend on the cops. Like, it's better to have a chance than no chance. Like, like for instance, like if that shooting on July 4th, which I love, one thing I love to do is like um pay attention to like shootings like that as they happen or what, like right when they happen. Because I like to track the stories, like because the stories always change. And that's one thing I talked about too. I don't know if I covered it on my channel, but that mass shooting that happened on the train, that was actually in Sunset Park, my neighborhood. But like what happened on July 4th, I wasn't able to track it like that because it was July 4th. I was out here in fucking beautiful Maine. Having said that though, if I'm not like bigging up my skills, but had I been at a parade like that, which I wouldn't be at a parade, um, at least I could fucking send some shots back in that direction. Maybe I could give my family clearance for them to take off and run while I provide cover. And maybe I may give up my life in the process, but at least I had a chance. But I think there was a couple that got shot within that, and it was the father, the mother, and they had a baby with them, and supposedly the baby lived because the father covered him. Now, like maybe like if the father had like a small firearm, if you could have maybe got lucky and fucking picked the guy off, like fucking that's how I look at it. Like I mean, like um I think like responsible gun ownership, a lot of those people don't get into arguments and like whip out guns like as much as like people would think. Again, you have the advent of telephones. You would see stories like that all the time. Like, in Florida, everybody in Florida has guns. But in Florida, honestly, in Florida's hood, people behave themselves a lot better than they do in New York. New York, there's a lot of people that think they're wolves. Who are 22-year-old pussies that run around with guns. And if God forbid you beat one of them up, they're the first ones to fucking run and rat you out. But there's a lot of fucking idiots. Like, I mean, people in general are a lot more stupid nowadays than in the past. And I think that that makes for a dangerous combination in cities. Again, I don't go into cities. I don't want to go into cities. Like fucking I wouldn't go in there looking like fucking for something to buck at, like fucking not at all. But I think people that are stuck there, I mean, I think they should have access to defend themselves personally. That's just my stance. Let me see. Both mother and father died. The baby is an orphan. Yeah. Let me see. The gun laws is, let me see. Sorry. The gun laws is why this is happening. It happens nowhere else in the world, my man. Don't mean to be an a-hole. That's not you being an a-hole, bro. I mean that's your opinion. But yeah, I mean like the mass shooting stuff does happen here. I want to get to that in a future sense as far as my opinions on like a lot of the mass shootings, like because I want to break that down over a long, expansive time because I have a deep-seated opinion on that stuff too. But I don't want to like trivialize the tragedy either. I think mass shootings are fucking terrible. Like I mean, like you're shooting at like innocent people. Um, I mean, if I were in jail like for any sort of amount of time, and you get like chances to put your hands on somebody like that. I mean, you pray for a moment like that, but I just like to be in a position in which if everybody is at a certain level of strength and I have the ability to match them or get close to matching them, I want that ability. And I want my kids to have that ability. And I want like the people around me like to have that mindset in a sense. And honestly, like when you get a small amount of people that think that way, like neighborhoods that like are like that tend not to get robbed, like it's cool. Like I mean, like that's my argument for it. Let me see. Oh, and if anyone deserves the death penalty is dumb. Yeah. Pedophiles are a little bit higher on my list, but you're right. Like fucking cowards that do mass shootings are fucking human trash. But the what else I was gonna say? No, and then like with the talk of war, like I mean, like that's the most like worst case scenario. But let's say like it's worst case scenario, and like fucking God forbid another country tries to invade like the shores domestically of whatever country at. You know, a lot of people like, oh yeah, well I'll throw Molotov cocktails like and all that shit. Fucked. What if they cut off the gas? And like honestly, if you went out there with a Molotov cocktail, or like how many of you are gonna go out there? 10? Like fucking if they send like a fucking brigade of motherfuckers, that's like 5,000 soldiers like strapped to the gills, all kinds of equipment, tanks. You literally have like no shot. Um I think here like I've heard the number 300 million like firearms that are here like in America. I mean, you stand a chance like in that sense. And I think that would get people rolling, like if they want an invasion, like I think they wouldn't hesitate in my eyes, like to go out there and like, defend this country. And I think a lot of like, nobody would take a stance. So, well, fuck these motherfuckers. Like if per se, like Nova Scotia, like I don't know if that's not a country, but per se, like if Canada invaded America, I think like nobody would say, oh well, fuck. That's a Republican fight, like or a conservative issue. I'm not getting into that shit. I think a lot of people would be like, you know what, like fucking, it's an imminent issue, and let's get into the fight. But if you got like nothing, you're gonna stay your ass home. I mean, fucking. But again, I want to discuss a lot of that stuff too, like fucking in my new incarnation as far as a channel goes. But trying to think of something else. There was something else that happened too. There's a ton of shit that it seems like every day, like fucking something happens. Like I mean, I like, but it's literally like that, like in the sense that like a lot of times you forget like shit that was like the headline of a news for weeks. I mean, like look at the Ronies, bro. Like people ain't even talking about the Ronies like that. People out there like this summer, like going out to open air festivals, fucking and doing drugs, like people that were total COVID Karens a year ago, you know, and they're not out there in fucking festivals wearing masks. They're out there fucking bare chested, fucking, taking their fucking their MDMA, fucking, and going into porta potties and fucking without condoms. But with that, I'm gonna break out, guys. I gotta take a fucking Lydic, and I gotta be up early tomorrow to hang out with my friend here in Maine. I gotta take her out to a store. To my friend doesn't drive. She's 94, so I gotta take her out to get some gear. She just moved out here permanently from Brooklyn. But thank you, Lost Ones, for showing up and commenting, especially, bro. I wish I knew how to fucking make people moderators, but I don't know how to do that shit. But thank you for coming through, bro. Lost One, and to anybody who listens to this after the fact, fucking I hope you come back, like fucking but if you don't, I get it. But um I can't be on here as often, like I said, because um sometimes like my even like a little like my speech is a little bit fucked up, and I get like a little bit like some like self-conscious, so like my words will get caught up. So I don't like want to be out in here every day, like even if this channel were getting like 100,000 people, like fucking I just could find better shit to do anyway. But with that though, I mean the fact that you the viewer has come to waste your time with me means everything to me. But with that, I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and thank you for stepping into the Foul Play Line with me. Much love. Peace.